Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of Masanda Wana Fan Vlog for the 2025-2026 season. Firstly, game of the season, an away game to Chippa United. I don't know what to make of this game as a whole. When you look at the first half performance, to be honest, this game almost looked like a preseason game. It didn't really look like it didn't have the intensity of a Premier League game. It didn't have a intensity of a competitive match. But that's something that's very understandable right now. I think this will be the theme of the season to say Sundowns didn't have preseason, didn't have much of preseason. Only had 2 weeks of preseason. Only had a 2 week break, I think, from the Club World Cup, and I think this season will probably show. Um, as this performance today showed as well, it didn't look like a game that is to the standards of Mamelodi Sundowns. You know, if you look at our performances against Chippa in the previous seasons, I mean, we've beaten this team 7 times in a row. Um, and today we get a draw. That is not that bad. I don't think it's a game that we must make much of it. Most of the time, I look at performance over result because I think that determines where a team is really. Because any team can fluke a result. So yeah, when I look at this game, I think the first half looked solid. The first half looked solid. A few good performances in the first half. I think Marcelo was brilliant in the first half. I think Arthur Sales, even without the goal, was brilliant. But I think the goal kept off a brilliant first half for him. Not a brilliant performance overall. It was a good performance in the first half from the team, but I think a few players stood out in the first half. Ronan wasn't tested as much. Our defense wasn't tested as much. We had the most of the possession. If you look at the game in total, we had 72% possession, which is expected. We will always have the best, like the most in terms of possession against any team in the Premier League. But if you look at the second half performances day and night, I think we allowed Chiba to grow in confidence as the game went on. I think they might have had much better individual performances than we did. I think Kolanis Tole had a good performance. The boy who won Man of the Match, Mfekane, had a very good, solid performance. Malibu Humudise is a player that is not short of confidence. I think he will always bet on himself against anyone in terms of winning duels in one-on-one situations. He will bet on himself against anyone in the league. He's growing in confidence. He's been performing well for Chipa. Last season performed well. This season performed well. I mean, it's just one game, but um, he performed really well. So when you look at their individual performances versus our individual performances, you can say they had a lot more better individual performances than we had. And also as a team, I think they looked a bit more cohesive than we did. We didn't look cohesive or as good as we did against Richards Bay in the MTN 8. But obviously, a cup match and a league match are two different games because, again, in a league match, any team in this league will take a draw against Sundowns before kickoff. Um, I don't think many teams will take their chances with us. Maybe outside of like Pirates or like a Stellenbosch. Even last season, even like a Polokwane City, like they look like a team that will take a chance or take a gamble in terms of like their performance against us. But yeah, you could see that today's game was a game against a team that know a lot about us. Coach Badela knows a lot of this, knows a lot about this team. We have a lot of our former players in the team. Ramutse came on and Philander came on, two DDC players for Sundowns. Malibu Humudise, a former player of ours. I mean, you can go as far as even their sporting director, who probably knows our players from the national team better than anyone. So it was that type of game, and I think if you had offered them a draw before kickoff, they would have taken it. So I think they should be also like the way the result was celebrated by their players, and when the cameras went to their owner, there you could see like they were happy with the result. But I think they had a much better performance than we did, especially in the second half. I think our performance really dropped in the second half. But I don't make much of the first 5 games for Sundowns. Even if you go back to the days of Coach Pizzo, we never really like started that well. Like it was only from the co-coaching 2020, 2021, and the following season where we started like a house on fire. But to be honest with you, I don't really like look at this performance and say I would be worried or whatnot. I don't think I'm that worried. The only when you look at the starting lineup, I think the only thing that surprised me was Basadine starting at right back when you think of Zuko's performance in the MTN8 against Richards Bay. I think he started very well, and he played well, and I thought he would start today. But Basadine was very good when he came on in the second half against Richards Bay. And I think I will give Coach Miguel the benefit of the doubt because of how we ended that game. I think we had so much control, and I think Basadine inverting gave us a lot of options. Him inverting into midfield, him playing the diagonal ball towards Mabena, playing the diagonal ball towards Tashrik Matthews, playing the diagonal ball in the zone 14 area. I think it's something that, yeah, man. I think it was a gamble that was worth taking. So I don't think I will make much of that. Just thought maybe Zuko would get the shout. But yeah, also surprised that Keanu Cupido didn't start. But when you think that Keanu started the Club World Cup games after not playing much since he arrived in January, and starting also in the M10-8, maybe it could have been a case of him maybe being managed, his legs being managed, because sometimes you can play a lot of games after not playing for a long period, and then maybe you might have issues physically. So yeah, I think it was, but obviously Musa has played very well, and I thought he was probably our best centre back in terms of the centre back pairing we had of him and Grant. I think Musa had a very good performance. But anyone who starts in this team deserves to start. Yeah, I think anyone who starts right now deserves to start, because I think, especially where we are right now, I think it's just a few positions where you can say it's not up for the taking, but a lot of positions are up for the taking. And most of the players who come on, they really raise their hands. Zuko, when he started against Richards Bay, really raised his hand. And even when he came on in the second half today, you could see that he's really hungry for some game time. But yeah, all in all, I'm not gonna make much of this performance. The one thing that I thought about when I was watching the game was that I'm still not certain in terms of the Coach Miguel, in terms of reading him. I think it's very difficult for me to read him. I don't know. You guys can tell me in the comments. And I'm not even saying it in a negative way. Maybe it might also be a positive thing that he's not easily it's not easy to read him. I still can't really tell what he's the one thing maybe that has been consistent about him lately is the fact that he makes like very early changes. I think that's the one thing about him, and I think sometimes it's a good and a bad thing because sometimes maybe if you allow the team to grow into the game, like maybe you can get better performances out of it. But and I think sometimes it also creates anxiety in the players to know that around the 56th minute, 60th minute, maybe like if you are finding it difficult to grow into the game, or you are like the game is maybe like you are struggling to read the game, or you are now getting into reading the game, coach might take you out. So I think sometimes it might create anxiety. But on the cup half full, the glass half full, might be that you need to be quick on your feet and quickly read the game, because you know that around the 60th minute the coach might not mess around. He will make changes. So maybe that can also be like, that's the glass half full. That could be the positive of him making early changes in games sometimes. But yeah, all in all, I think I think it was an okay performance. If you also look at the fact that where we are right now, like where this team is in terms of the uncertainties. I was also shocked to see Shalulile on the bench because he only came back into the team on Friday. He hasn't been with the team since last week Saturday. He left day before, yeah, on the day of camp for the Richards Bay game. So you wonder, maybe the coach wanted to like just instill a bit of confidence to show that he still believes in him. And I think in terms of all everything that's happening right now, like all the talks around our players, uncertainties as who might leave, who's not part of the squad and whatnot. I don't think I think there we have to give Coach Miguel some grace because he's not in control of that. Like that's something that's out of his hands, and I think it's something that might also work against him. So I think we must also be careful in terms of maybe like laying blame on him for certain things, because I don't think those are some of the things that he can control right now, because he doesn't control the comings and goings of players. So he works with what he has currently, and maybe like if a player is not mentally where he's supposed to be, there's not much that Coach Miguel can do. He can only work with the players that he has available for selection, for camps, and selection for starting 11s and being on the bench. So yeah, all in all, I think it was okay. It was an okay result. I think any team that comes up against Sundowns in the first 5 to 8 games, if you can get your draw and get the first fixture, the first leg against Sundowns out of the way, most teams will play like this. Try to hit us on the counter, try to hit us on transitions, and if I'm a coach of a mid-table or a struggling team in the PSL, I will also play this way and get the result in the first 5 games and get it out of the way, because once Sundowns gets settled, players go out and some players come in and the window is closed and people are sure of their place in the team. I think that's when trouble starts for most of the teams in the Premier League, and no one wants to face that type of Sundowns. But yeah, anyway, it's difficult to do the ratings by myself, but I will try my best. I don't think Ronan was tested as much today. Actually, when I think of the shots on target, I don't think he even faced anything on target today. Yeah, I think I'll give Ronan a 6.5. I will give Basadine a 5.5. Only played 45 minutes. Grant, I will give a 6.5. I'll give Musa a 7.5. Obbs, I thought, had a good performance today. Aubrey likes playing in PE, also likes playing against Chippa United. When you think of his performances 2 seasons ago, I'm not sure if he started last season when we won the league there, because I remember Suarez played. Yeah, but Aubrey always performs well in PE. I think he even got a goal 2 seasons ago. Had a good performance. I'll give him an 8 for today's performance. Tebza today was not up to his best self, but wasn't terrible. I think it was a 6. Marcelo had a very good first half. Not the best in terms of his second half performance, but Marcelo's intangibles will always give him the shout in midfield ahead of every 8 we have in the team. You can ask anyone who does the data analytics at Sundowns. They will tell you that Marcelo becomes the 12th man on the pitch. Like when you have him, it's like having an extra player because he has a sixth gear, whereas most players don't even reach their fifth gear. I'll give Marcelo a 7.5 for today's performance. I will give Jaden. Jaden was very quiet, but also with him, I think after the season he had also, and then going to the Club World Cup, not being a starter, you could see his confidence has been a bit down. Um, got a start today, and it's not easy to just start when you haven't started in so many games. But he's a big boy, and I think at Sundowns there's no time to to have a lack of confidence, have a period where your confidence is low for a long time. I think you are allowed maybe like for a small period, and then you have to snap out of it. Um, but I'll give him some grace because he hasn't started in a while. I'll give Jaden a 5 for today. Um, I think Atur was probably our best player in the first half. He was good. Atur, Allende, and Aubrey were good in the first half. I don't want to lie. I think also a very good finish for his goal. I think I will give Sales a 8.5 because of the first half that he had, and I think if you look at the first half, he was probably like the best player on the pitch. And another thing that I thought and I said after the first leg of the Champions League final was his off the ball work has really improved because I thought he looked a bit lethargic when he first came on, but now like his intensity is much higher. He's looking to take players on. He's looking to get shots in, and I think with the Lucas not being around, he realizes that I have to like raise my game, and that's what I'm seeing so far, and I'm impressed so far. Yes, I'll give him an 8.5. I thought Reynas was not good today. Reynas, I will give him a 5.5 for today's performance. Who else started? Tashreeq. I think Tashreeq has to really find himself in the first round before AFCON. If he doesn't really find himself going up to AFCON, I think he's gonna have a difficult time. And I think this season is a make or break for him. I think this season has to define his stay at Sundowns because he came on for big money, bigger money than Lucas Ribeiro, and I think it's a make or break season for him. He really has to stamp his authority, and also the position that he's being played in. You can see that it might be up for grabs because every time Mabena comes on, he really makes a difference, and I really hope Tashreeq starts firing, and also not even just goals but performance-wise. So I will give him a 5.5 for today's performance. Off the bench, I thought Letlaku was the most impressive. Was very good. Was very, like had the drives. Was, like he showed a lot of creativity. Was the spark of the bench, in my opinion. I will give Kutlwano a 7.5. I will give Mabena a 6. I will give Temba a 7. I thought Temba was very good. You even look at the flick to Mabena for the chance, and you look at the first time shot, because usually Temba will want to like place the ball and like trap it first, and like, but you saw like when he came on that he was looking good, and I think I think I'll give Temba a 7. Yeah, Temba, Mabena, Zuko Mdunyelwa, I think I will give Zugo a 7.5. I thought him and Kutlwano, they really looked like they were interested today. They really looked like they were interested. Who came on in the second half again? Keanu Cupido, I thought was very good as well. But I don't like the the changes in defense, especially like center backs. But you can understand that maybe sometimes they need to like, they really have to like juggle the minutes and save the legs because there's too many games at Sundowns and no preseason. So I think we can allow it to happen and we can allow Coach Miguel to do that. But yeah, all in all, I thought it was an okay performance. Not the best, not the worst. I will give Coach Miguel a 7. I thought it was a well-managed game, even though I'm not really like happy with the performance, but I'm not dejected as well. So yeah, I thought it was it was an okay performance. Good to see our supporters in the stands from the Eastern Cape. I really hope Pet Buffo was at the stadium because this is his one chance to go to the stadium when you're in PE. But yeah, all in all, on to the next game, guys. See you after the game against Amazulu, and hopefully it's an improved performance from this performance. And going into the Pirates game, we will need to go a gear higher. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you on Tuesday.